opinion itself,
Just the opinion. And then I said that the justice was writing the story of the case and the matter, and he thought possibly it might be used in some publication, such as Foreign Affairs, sort.
Yes.
And it isn't finished. He hasn't been able to get to finishing it up, but hopes to before too long. And of course, that you will have access to, and it will give the complete story right there.
Mm-hmm.
He's hoping to get it completed before too long.
Right. See, some of these things will have to be added later, and we'll have to review the whole thing as a book.
Yeah.
But I'm on the last chapter. I've got about 25 pages of manuscript done. And as a matter of fact, today I was writing about the tussle with Winston Churchill on the grand gesture of generosity. But I want to go over this material that this man Phillips has selected.
Yes.
But I thought that if we had the thing complete in at least a rough first draft form, we'd begin to see what the skeleton and the body would look like, and then we can dress it up in pretty clothes afterwards.
Sure.
Because we can begin to see what the whole thing would look like as an overall book, and then what should be enlarged on and what should be deleted.
Yes.
So we're getting near the end of the first draft.
Uh-huh. You're getting close to the end of that, aren't you?
That's right. I expect I would finish before Easter as far as that part of it's
wonderful.
concerned.
Well, now the justice is here. Do you want to talk with him now?
Only if you tell me that this is a good day to make such a request.
Well, this is his first day, so you should count it a good day, and also Friday the 13th.
That's right. That seems my lucky number, Elsie.
Yeah.
I look forward to your letter, and thanks for anticipating my request.
Well, it will be right along, and we're pretty slow sending it up to you, but it's been a hectic time down here these past 2 or 3 days.
I can bet.
It continues to be so, and so I was later sending it up than I should have been, and I apologize for that.
Perfectly. No apologies necessary.
Well, you hold on now.
One thing before you go.
Yes.
Elsie, in the draft, which the judge has in his files, are there any pencil notations by President Roosevelt?
The draft of what?
The draft of the destroyer opinion.
Oh, I didn't notice any.
Uh-huh.
Don't think so.
Probably the working draft isn't there in the file, but just the final draft as it went over to the president.
This is a mimeograph copy.
Oh, yes. Because the president made some little changes, like from mosquito fleet to mosquito boat and things like that, but nothing of substance.
That's right. Well, he may have that copy somewhere, but I don't have it in this file.
Yes.
And he can tell you about that.
All right. I'll talk to him, Elsie. Thank you. Bye.
Yes?
Judge Eugene Gerhart.
Yes, hello. How are you, Gene?
Fine. How are you?
That's great.
Judge, I've handed your article on Falstaff to one of your former classmates up at Albany Law School, Francis V. Leary, who's now our clerk over here in our surrogate's court. And since it involves surrogate matters, at least in part, I thought he might get a kick out of reading it.
Well, it's a weird story.
Well, Judge, I'm sorry we won't be seeing you up here, but after I get these final chapters, I'm working on the last chapter now. It's not anywhere nearly in final form, but I've got half the manuscript written, and Elsie's sending me up some additional material. It's already in the mail. And when we get that done, we'll at least have a draft, the first draft, from which to work on and see where we ought to add or subtract, and so it'll begin to take shape as a book.
Well, I've got with the Columbia project, they're getting along with that. He's gone through these papers and has been classifying them, and I think he's done a very good job of arranging my stuff. He's one of my most useful clerks.
Yes.
And so I think we'll get it in shape so that the destroyer thing, she spoke to me about wanting an opinion. That I think she sent it to you, or is sending it.
She sent me the mimeograph copy, she said today.
Yeah.
Judge, is there in existence a first draft which the president might have made some notations on that you mentioned in an interview with us?
Yes, I have that.
We might use that as a photostat, as a pic illustration in the book. I like to do that if the publisher will let us do it, because it illustrates the truth of the text in a better way than anything I can think of.
Well, the Destroyer story in itself is quite a long one. In fact, I've tried to reduce it to writing. Foreign Affairs were interested in it, and it's never been told
Mm-hmm.
In full.
Mm-hmm.
But to integrate it with the diplomatic negotiations and the whole story, I've got on paper some 50-odd pages.
Mm-hmm.
Long paper. It's not a simple story.
That's right. Should become a magazine article that we can refer to and perhaps briefly summarize.
It's in itself. But of course, it was probably the historians who've been fussing with that period are inclined to regard that as the turning point in American attitude on neutrality.
So is Churchill. He said so.
It was a turning point.
Yes.
And the way it came about, it all happened in about 100 days.
Mm-hmm.
And those 100 days are a very important ones.
That's right. That might be a good title for the chapter, The 100 Days.
That's why it is such a difficult job to write it, that there's a great deal that's never been published. Private diaries and memoirs, and then there's some that has been published, and they conflict like the devil.
Yes, and of course Garner and Farley are off base completely.
Well, they're completely, it's so easy to demolish them.
Judge, what I will do, what my tentative plans are, is after we get, Lorraine's typing one chapter, as she gets time, each morning to the last one. That is the first day after fun. After you've had a chance to look them over. And I also want to go down to New York and interview Telford Taylor, who's been kind enough to say he would. And also, if possible, perhaps at the same time, see Phillips.
Phillips, of course, doesn't have anything that he isn't putting on paper.
Mm-hmm. And let it go at that, couldn't we?
Everything that he gets is being recorded, and he's giving me the transcript of it, and you could get more from the transcript than you can from him. In fact, he's got nothing except what's in the transcript.
Fine. Well, Judge, when would those transcripts be available for us to pick up?
Well, I think as soon as you finish with this chapter and want to arrange a meeting, we can get together here.
Fine. All right, let's do it that way then.
As far as Taylor is concerned, Taylor, I don't think has any information that wouldn't be available to you, or particularly he hasn't nearly as much about Nuremberg as either Bob Story or Tom Dodd. Bob Story went with me, one of the first lawyers that I got into the service. All of these documents that are marked P.S. mean Paris Story.
Uh-huh.
That means that they were processed in my Paris office, and that they were either, under Story's control.
Yes.
And that distinguished him.
Yes.
And he did a great job there, and he had to do with all the case and was immediately next to my work.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor was considerably less close.
Yes, the only reason I thought of Taylor was for two reasons. First, he was down in New York, and he had been there for 4 or 5 years, as I understood it.
Well, he was there after I came away, and he had the subsequent proceedings, but they were quite different. He was not working with an international court, but merely with American judges. He wasn't working independently. He was under military government.
Oh, well, he wouldn't be the man to talk to then, particularly, would he?
What I think is if you have time, there's so much more profitable places to put it.
Right.
And I think one of them is on this manuscript, which Phillips is compiling here, and which I don't know how you can, unless you can spend some days to go to the documents when he gets them completed and correlate the documents with the manuscript. It may be hard to,
I have a thought on that, Judge. My thought is to read the manuscript first, and then itemize the documents that we might want to refer to, and then either go back to them and either take pictures of them, or to make quotations from them, which we could compare on the spot, and let it go at that. Or if copies were available, to get copies.
I suppose that all told, Phillips has spent close to a month in my documents.
Mm-hmm. Well, then he probably knows more.
So job, and then it's all laid out in this manuscript. I think that would be a wise way. It'd be to take the manuscript and study it, and then decide what you want from there.
Right. Well, now, Judge, would it be better for us to pick the manuscript up at our next interview, or to have you send what's available when it becomes available?
Well, I think probably it would be better to have you pick it up when you've got this chapter finished and get together.
All right, so we'll do it that way then. Well, Judge, I'm sorry we won't have you up here.
Well, I'm sorry. I'd like to come very much. I enjoy those things, as you know, but it just isn't possible to do as much of that as I'd like.
Maybe some later day we can work something in like that. One other thing, Judge, you mentioned Mr. Dodd. I wrote to a man named Dodd once, and I wrote to the wrong Dodd. Do you know where I could reach him?
Well, he's a member of Congress now. He was the only congressman elected from Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in the city right now. He's sick, but when you're down here, you can arrange to see him.
Yes, I have his address through the USCA service. Well, Judge, it's awfully nice to hear you, and I won't keep you from your work any longer.
Fine.
And I'll get the word around here that it won't be this year, but maybe some later year that we'll have the pleasure of having you up.
All right, Jim.
Fine, thank you. Bye.